Now, Teka had grown to be a man and had gone on mammoth hunts, and he had taken his pup who'd helped to scare the mammoth into their trap. He was a good hunter, but his best skills were with animals. His tribe had started to keep animals to hunt, and he was very good at looking after them, keeping them calm and happy to stay. Now one day Teka met a girl named Marla. She was as clever as he was, and even had her own pet wolf. The other men thought she was a little bit crazy because no other woman had animals, but Marla didn't mind. She liked to be different. She used to help Teka with the animals, and she was thinking about all the hard work they had finding food for the animals. It was easier than going out to hunt, but still, she thought there might be a better way. Every day, some of the tribe, often ones with horses, had to walk miles to find grass to cut and bring to feed the animals. The grass nearby had already been cut and eaten, so they had to travel further and further away. Marla spent a long time thinking about that grass and the other plants the animals and the people ate. What if we could keep plants like we keep animals? She wondered one day to Teka. Teka was surprised, but he didn't know how that was possible. You would need new plants all the time. They had realized with the animals that if they kept lots, then when they had babies and those babies grew, then they had even more. So even when they ate some of them, they would still have lots. So how could you do that with plants? They don't have babies. But Marla wondered about that. Where did new plants come from? She tried asking the elders and the medicine woman, but they didn't really know. The medicine woman said she had wondered if a part of the plant went into the ground to make new plants. So Marla started experimenting. She took parts of the plant and chopped them up and buried them, but nothing happened. One year was very dry and the rains came late. Marla realized that there was not a lot of new plants when it was dry, but after the rain there was lots. So maybe it was something in the water. She tried pouring water on the ground, but nothing happened. Maybe she needed something from the plants and the water. She was puzzled, but she continued to think about it. Now one day Marla was out walking with Teka and they found a fruit tree. It had some beautiful, big, juicy fruit on, and they remembered eating them before, so they knew they were safe. After they ate, they spat out the hard stones in the middle of the fruit. One got stuck in Teka's fruit. I wish these fruit didn't have stones in them. I wonder why they do. Marla had a sudden thought and rushed around collecting the stones they had spat out. She rushed back to the camp, leaving Teka very confused. Then Marla put the small stones in the ground and put some water on them. Nothing happened. But Marla decided maybe it took some time, just like an animal baby takes time to grow. So every day she put more water on the same place and she waited. And waited, and waited. Then one day, an amazing thing happened. Marla saw some tiny green sprouts. Her plants were growing. Hers, she had made them. She rushed to show everyone, and they were amazed. Teka was amazed at her discovery and wondered if other plants had small stones that grew inside them as well. The medicine woman said she knew some did, but lots didn't. Maybe they look different in other plants, thought Teka, just like baby animals look different. That's very clever, said Marla, and she spent every day looking for more parts of the plant that grew. She found that most plants had some part of them that came off. Sometimes it was light and fluffy, sometimes small and round, but each time she put it in the ground and watered it, it eventually started to grow. The grass had small light grains that grew on the top sometimes, and when she planted those, lots of grass grew, so they could have some to feed the animals. Some people were asking her if their favorite food came from a plant with these parts. So she started growing food for the people. She showed them how to find these seeds, she called them, and how to grow them for themselves. Soon, the people didn't have to travel far for food and had plants growing right nearby whenever they wanted. And the animals were kept right there too. So no longer did they have to travel far and hunt and gather for food. They were happy, and they only had to travel to go and meet others and share their ideas. Marla decided that Teka was very clever, and he thought that she was even more clever to find how plants had grown. So they got married and had very clever children who also thought of other ideas to help people. And their tribe never had to move home again, as they had everything they needed right there. In fact, soon other small tribes joined them. And because they had everything nearby, they had enough to share, and they all worked hard to look after the animals and grow the plants they wanted. Soon their tribe had grown, and there were lots of small shelters built from wood and bone, all around their river and the places that grew plants and kept animals. until their place had lots of families and had grown to what people would call a village. The people were very happy living in a big group as everyone helped one another and they all stayed together. Only some of the people traveled to other places and shared their news and ideas and got new ideas too, till many of the tribes were farming and living in big groups called villages. The age of the hunter-gatherer was finished, and the age of farming had begun. And now people were living together in groups, in communities, all working together to make life better. That was quite a long story. I hope you enjoyed it. I want you to think about life in those times. Would you have liked to live in those times with Ayla or with Tekka when they started farming? Imagine how incredible it would have been. When Ayla was alive, people had to go and hunt and travel for miles. They could never stay in one place because they would have to go and find where animals and plants were. But then in Tekka's age, in the farming stage, where they could actually grow the plants and keep the animals close by, they didn't have to go anymore because their food was right there. Isn't that clever? I wonder if we'd lived then, if we would have thought of these ideas and inventions and changed life like they did. I wonder what ways that we could change our lives and make them better, and what things we could invent today. It's nice to think about. As more people were farming, the communities grew bigger and bigger and bigger. People started to trade and share ideas, and eventually they grew so big that they became little towns. We're going to start learning about some of those early towns and early cities even, where there were so many people living together in one place, sharing resources and helping one another, that they had to have a leader, they had to have rules, they had to have buildings. And life changed again, just like it did from the Stone Age into the age of farming, and now into the age of cities and civilizations. And we're going to look at one of the first cities in the world called Mesopotamia. I hope you enjoy it.